Hey everyone, welcome to today's Explainer. I am so incredibly fascinated to guide you through this one because we are literally watching the rules of digital defense being rewritten in real time. Over the last few months, a massive paradigm shift has just completely rocked the cybersecurity landscape, and it was all triggered by Anthropic's unreleased AI model. It's a development that changes everything about how we protect our digital infrastructure, and we're going to unpack exactly what this means for all of us.
I want you to picture this for a second. What actually happens when an AI just wakes up as the world's greatest hacker, when it starts breaking into systems that human experts haven't been able to crack for decades? Well, this isn't some sci-fi movie plot anymore. This is the reality we woke up to with the creation of a model known as Claude Mythos. The stakes for today's explainer honestly couldn't be higher.
27 years. Just let that sink in for a moment. That is the exact age of a critical vulnerability that Mythos autonomously discovered in OpenBSD. Now, if you know OpenBSD, you know it's basically a fortress. It has a reputation as one of the most heavily security-hardened operating systems on the planet. Yet, this AI just effortlessly saw an open window that decades of intense human audits and millions of automated tests had completely missed.
Okay, so here's how we're going to break this down today. First, we'll meet the AI hacker. Then we'll look at how it's disrupting cybersecurity forever and dive into Project Glasswing Explained. After that, we'll cover the European blackout and finally enter OpenMythos. Let's get right into it.
Part 1. Meet the AI hacker. So to really wrap our heads around the sheer magnitude of this threat, we need to set up some foundational concepts.
Before we get to the AI itself, we got to talk about what it actually finds. Zero-day vulnerabilities. Think of a zero-day like having your front door unlocked, but literally nobody, not even you, knows about it. Because the developers have had 0 days to fix it, there's no patch. You are totally exposed until someone finally stumbles on that open door and builds a lock for it. So, enter Anthropic Mythos. And here's the crazy part about this. Mythos wasn't actually built to be a hacker. It's an unreleased, general-purpose frontier AI. But as Anthropic kept improving its deep reasoning and its coding capabilities, they accidentally created an absolute master at vulnerability discovery. It pushes way beyond superficial pattern matching to actually understand software architecture.
Unlike those older tools that just kind of skim code snippets, Mythos acts like a top-tier autonomous human researcher. Step 1, it analyzes massive entire code bases. Step 2, it spots those hidden zero-day flaws. But Step 3 is the real game changer. It can intelligently chain multiple isolated bugs together. And finally, Step 4, it autonomously executes the exploit. It doesn't just tap you on the shoulder and say, hey, there's a problem here. It actually breaks in to prove it.
Which brings us to Part 2, disrupting cybersecurity forever. Because the arrival of this model just totally shatters the old playbook of defense and threat mitigation.
Here's the terrifying reality of this new era. Before Mythos, vulnerability discovery moved at human speed, and it was super fragmented. After Mythos, we're talking machine speed discovery at an unbelievable scale using deep reasoning. Security experts are warning that the window between a vulnerability being discovered and it being actively exploited has now collapsed to less than 24 hours. The old manual approach simply cannot keep up with that.
And guys, this is not just theoretical, this has immediate massive implications, especially for the financial sector. We are officially shifting from AI-assisted attacks to full-blown AI-driven autonomous attacks. During evaluations, Mythos actually became the first model ever to pull off a highly complex 32-step corporate network attack simulation. It's so intense that global finance watchdogs like the FSB are actively issuing warnings. Japanese megabanks are throwing together urgent task forces to defend their legacy tech, and this is exactly why we're seeing huge pushes for initiatives like the Cyber AID project, right? They are practically racing to build defensive AI agents specifically designed to ensure the cyber resilience of these massive, vulnerable financial organizations.
So how exactly does the tech industry respond to a weapon of this magnitude? That brings us to Part 3, Project Glasswing Explained.
Recognizing just how dangerous this was, Anthropic flat out refused to release Mythos to the public. Instead, they launched an initiative named after the glasswing butterfly. Just like that butterfly hides in plain sight with its transparent wings, 0 days are hiding right there in our core infrastructure. Project Glasswing is all about providing the defensive transparency we need to secure those bugs before the bad guys exploit them.
Google's VP of Security Engineering, Heather Adkins, really hit the nail on the head after testing the model. She said, there will be more attacks, faster attacks, and more sophisticated attacks. Now is the time to modernize cybersecurity stacks everywhere. Anthropic's strategy here is super deliberate. They are choosing to arm the defenders first, so they can patch the holes before attackers get their hands on this kind of tech.
So, who actually gets access? Well, it's a very tight club. U.S. tech giants, critical defenders, and major global financial institutions are granted access, backed by a cool $100 million in compute credits to give them a 90-day head start to fix these bugs. But the general public, and specifically a lot of European entities, totally locked out.
Which perfectly transitions us into part 4, the European blackout. Because treating a defensive cyber AI like a restricted export, yeah, that has created some massive unintended geopolitical headaches.
Anthropic's walled garden approach has caused some serious global friction. By shutting the EU out of the most advanced cyber AI model, this huge capability gap has opened up for European banks and governments. It's ignited these intense debates online, tech nationalism versus strict EU regulations. And as a result, major groups like the ECB and the Bundesbank are now scrambling, urgently pushing for access, because this whole situation really highlights Europe's deepening dependence on US technology just for baseline digital defense.
But let's be real. Keeping a lid on transformative technology is rarely successful. That leads us to our final section. Enter OpenMythos, the open source community's totally inevitable reaction to Project Glasswing.
Here's the crucial point about containment. It's a myth. History tells us that capability spreads regardless of intent. Trying to keep this revolutionary architecture locked in a room shared by just 40 elite companies, it was never going to last. Because the underlying algorithmic secrets and the research papers, they're already out there in the wild.
And the result of that leak? Well, in an absolute masterclass of open source speed, a developer named Kai Gomez managed to build a PyTorch reconstruction of Anthropic's rumored architecture from scratch. And get this, he did it in just 12 days. 12 days! It just proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that containing high-level AI capabilities is practically impossible. If a single developer can recreate this framework in under 2 weeks, you know the bad actors aren't far behind.
Let's nerd out on the architecture for a quick sec, because it is pretty wild. Built entirely from public research, OpenMythos perfectly mimics that deep reasoning we talked about earlier. It uses looped transformers and a mixture of experts. But instead of churning out those visible chain-of-thought tokens, it features silent computation within a single forward pass, using adaptive depth. Basically, it can think through these crazy multi-step exploits in a hidden, latent space, completely bypassing Anthropic's export restrictions. Which leaves us with one massive, urgent question to ponder. As these ungoverned open-source models rapidly catch up to Anthropic's frontier AI, will our societies be able to completely redesign our security foundations before Project Glasswing's 90-day head start runs out? The digital perimeter of our civilization has literally never been more fragile. I really hope this explainer sparked your curiosity and helped you grasp the profound shift we're living through right now. Keep learning, stay secure, and I'll catch you next time.